Today marks 20 years since the welfare system dramatically changed.
So, is it working 2 decades later? It depends on who you ask. The current system is called Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. It requires that people meet a range of strict requirements to get help. That cash help goes to around 2 million families a month, according to government estimates. But it's up to each state to hand out the money, so how much you get depends a lot on where you live.
Are those requirements too strict? The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities thinks so. It says right now for every 100 families in poverty, overall only 23 get the federal cash benefits. That's down from 68 families in every 100 back in 1996.
But a paper from the Manhattan Institute for Policy Research that's out today argues welfare reform is an important accomplishment that has ended many families' dependence on public assistance. The Institute says the reform has encouraged people to provide for themselves. That sounds pretty doable, but what about when hard times come again and again? The Now's Lauren Wilson spoke to the local woman who, because of hard times, has seen the pros and the cons of welfare.
13 years ago, Marianne Saratsky finally caught a break.
I had got on cash assistance. I used them back to back because I wasn't able to find a job.
But after 13 months, the single mom of 3 was taken off the program, leaving her helpless when she's needed it the most.
I was working until I had him. It kind of hurts in the long run because if you hit hard times and you're in those hard times, what do you do?
Her story is not unlike many in the U.S. since Bill Clinton's welfare reform was implemented in 1996.
We're talking about people who, many of whom were really in that hardcore unemployed, had never really worked a regular job. A lot of people simply left the system because they were no longer eligible. They didn't leave because necessarily they got better jobs.
Seeking to give specifics to the criticized liberal assistance plan, 20 years later, some argue it's only perpetuated a growing problem.
If the goal was to reduce the number of people on welfare getting government assistance, mission accomplished. However, if the goal was to reduce poverty, the record is much more mixed.
A
Caucasian, not African American or Latino.
Marianne tells me she's again in need, but this time she doesn't have welfare and has to make it on her own.
A lot of people have the misconception that a lot of people on welfare just want to sit and not do anything, but it's not like that. It's hard. It's a struggle.
To make ends meet, Marianne does receive food stamps and help from local churches and the Marriott House in Tremont. She also tells me she's actively looking for work. For the Now, I'm Lauren Wilson.
We're learning new details about the death of music icon Prince.